Shedeur Sanders might actually be QB1 in Cleveland this soon. That's coming straight from Kevin Stefanski's mouth. And after what just went down against Detroit, it's starting to make perfect sense. Joe Flacco, the veteran everyone was hoping could at least hold the offense together, absolutely crumbled. One brutal interception. One ugly, drive-killing fumble. A handful of decisions that made you wonder if he thought he was still playing in 2013.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
It wasn't just a bad game. It was a flashing red siren. And Stefanski heard it loud and clear. After the loss, he didn't sugarcoat things. He didn't defend Flacco. He made it crystal clear. Shedeur Sanders is firmly in the mix. Let's not gloss over how huge that is. We're talking about a rookie who just a few weeks ago was standing on the sidelines, calm, patient, waiting. Now, he's this close to starting for a team that desperately needs a spark. Not because of hype, not because of pressure, but because the Browns have run out of reasons not to give him the ball. Flacco was brought in as a steady hand, a stopgap, someone who could manage the game while the younger guys developed. But that strategy fell apart the moment he fumbled the ball away in a critical moment, letting the Lions take full control. Stefanski didn't overreact. He just read the room, and the room is screaming for change. The team's offensive output has been flatlining. The energy is gone. The spark? Non-existent. That's where Sanders comes in. He's already said it himself. He believes he's better than a lot of starting QBs in the league. Say what you want about the confidence, but the Browns haven't had a quarterback who believes in himself this much in a long time. And when you're looking at a future that doesn't include Flacco under center, that belief starts to matter. This isn't just about performance anymore. It's about momentum. Flacco's fumble wasn't just a turnover. It was a turning point. The moment that Shedeur Sanders went from long-term project to real-time option. And let's not ignore what else is happening. Dylan Gabriel is getting reps too. Stefanski is clearly testing the waters with his younger quarterbacks. But of the group, Sanders is the one who's been making the most noise on and off the field. Calm, poised, faith-driven, laser-focused. The Browns' offense needs life. The locker room needs hope. And Stefanski just signaled that the next chapter might already be standing on the sideline, helmet in hand. Joe Flacco fumbled the ball, and maybe, just maybe, fumbled the job along with it. Kevin Stefanski didn't need to slam the table or call a press conference to make headlines. All it took was one line. Shedeur is firmly in the mix, and suddenly the entire league is talking. Because if you know anything about NFL coach speak, you know that line wasn't a suggestion. It was a warning shot. Joe Flacco's time as a Cleveland Browns starting quarterback may have officially expired. Let's not sugarcoat it. His performance against the Detroit Lions was a disaster. One of those games where even the most die-hard Browns fans sat there thinking, this can't be what we're sticking with. A brutal interception, a back-breaking fumble, and a complete breakdown in decision-making. For a guy who was supposed to be the veteran stabilizer, Flacco delivered chaos, and not the good kind. The Browns didn't just lose a game. They lost confidence in their quarterback and possibly their season, unless they course-correct fast. Enter Shedeur Sanders. And yes, this is at Shedeur Sanders, the rookie who flat-out told the world he believes he's better than a lot of NFL quarterbacks. At the time, it was bold, audacious. Some called it cocky. Others called it delusional. But now, that quote hits different. Because after Flacco's meltdown in Detroit, Sanders' self-belief doesn't feel like arrogance anymore. It feels like urgency. Here's what we know. Stefanski didn't bring up Sanders by accident. His comments post-game weren't off the cuff. They were calculated. The Browns are clearly preparing to make a switch, and not just because of one bad game. This has been building. Week by week, the cracks in Flacco's game have turned into chasms. And now, the team needs a spark. They need something, someone to reset the energy. And Stefanski is signaling loud and clear that Sanders might be that guy. This isn't about hype anymore. It's about necessity. The Browns aren't making this move because they want a media moment. They're making it because they have to. Flacco's play has become a liability. Turnovers, missed opportunities, poor field vision, slow decision-making. It's all there, and it's all getting worse. Meanwhile, Sanders has stayed composed, focused, quietly waiting, letting his confidence do the talking, letting the pressure build without cracking under it. And Stefanski, he's noticed, because you don't bring a rookie quarterback into the mix unless you think he's ready. Not in the NFL, not with the season on the line. And there's more. The Browns have already started giving Dillon Gabriel some reps. That wasn't just a gimmick. It was a clear sign they're evaluating every young quarterback on the roster, and not just for developmental purposes. They're actively searching for a leader. But between Gabriel's limited exposure and Flacco's unraveling, Sanders stands out as the most viable option, not because he's proven, but because he hasn't had a chance to fail yet. That blank slate, that's power. Because right now, this franchise doesn't need a game manager. They need a statement, a reset, a quarterback who brings hope, even if it's raw and untested. And Shedeur's confidence isn't just talk. It's backed by a mental discipline that's become impossible to ignore. In every media appearance, he stays composed, measured. He talks about patience, about trusting God's plan, about timing. These aren't empty platitudes. They're signs of a player who knows exactly what he's stepping into. Let's call it what it is. Shedeur Sanders looks and sounds like a quarterback who's been preparing for this exact moment. And the Browns may be about to hand it to him. Now, this decision doesn't come without risk. No rookie quarterback steps onto the field and looks perfect. He's going to face pressure. He's going to make mistakes. Defensive coordinators are going to test him every single play. But what matters more than perfection is composure, the ability to bounce back, to keep the offense moving, to lead. And frankly, Flacco hasn't shown any of that. The numbers don't lie. His completion rate is plummeting. His turnovers are trending upward. And most importantly, the offense looks stuck. The chemistry is gone. The rhythm is gone. The urgency is gone. What Stefanski sees in Sanders isn't just potential. It's a spark, a new direction, a different kind of energy. That's why this is bigger than just a quarterback change. It's a philosophical shift. It's the Browns signaling that they're no longer content with slow declines and safe bets. They're betting on the future, even if it comes with growing pains. And let's be clear, Stefanski isn't doing this on a whim. This is a strategic decision. Every hint he's dropped, every snap he's given to Gabriel, every pause in Flacco's post-game defense, it all points to the same conclusion. The Browns are ready to roll with Shedeur. And honestly, it's the right call, because if he succeeds, even a little, it changes everything. It buys time. It buys momentum. It gives the team something to rally around. And for a fan base that's been stuck in quarterback limbo for years, that's everything. Let's not forget what's on the line here. If Sanders proves himself, even in small doses, the Browns can build around him. They can finally start answering the long-standing question, who's our guy? Because Flacco, he's not the guy. That much is clear. The only question now is Shedeur Sanders ready? We don't have that answer yet. But the Browns are about to find out. And Stefanski's betting his job on it. This is what pressure looks like. And this is what leadership requires. For better or worse, Cleveland's quarterback saga is about to enter its next chapter, and all signs point to Shedeur Sanders holding the pen. So buckle up, because the Browns aren't just shifting quarterbacks, they're shifting eras. Let's hear it. Do you think Stefanski is making the right move by handing the offense to Shedeur? Is he the future of the franchise, or is this just another entry in the endless Cleveland quarterback carousel? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit that subscribe button if you want to stay locked in for every high-stakes snap, coaching decision, and locker room shakeup. This season isn't slowing down, and neither are we. Shedeur is firmly in the mix. That's all it took. With that single line, Kevin Stefanski didn't just throw Joe Flacco on the bus. He signaled that the Browns are officially moving on. And now, whether they're ready or not, the Shedeur Sanders era is here. And no, this isn't just another rookie quarterback getting a shot. This is a franchise pivoting mid-season, mid-collapse, mid-identity crisis. It's not about excitement. It's about survival. Because Flacco, his time is up. Let's call it like it is. His game against Detroit was a final nail in a coffin everyone could already see being built. The fumble? Brutal. The interception? Predictable. The overall energy? Completely flat. He didn't look like a veteran quarterback holding it together. He looked like a placeholder trying not to fall apart. And he fell apart. So here comes Shedeur. Calm. Confident. Probably more composed on the sideline than Flacco was on the field. And yes, he said it himself. He's better than a lot of NFL quarterbacks. At the time, it sounded like posturing. But now, it sounds like something the Browns might actually believe. Stefanski's comments don't happen in a vacuum. They happen when a coach knows he can't defend the status quo anymore. They happen when your veteran quarterback has lost the room, the rhythm, and most importantly, the results. And Shedeur? He's the complete opposite of what we just watched. Flacco plays like a quarterback trying not to lose. Sanders carries himself like one who expects to win. That matters, because when a team is on the edge of a meltdown, they don't need experience. They need belief. And if you're watching Cleveland's offense right now, belief is in short supply. Stefanski knows it. The players know it. The fans definitely know it. So now all that's left is the official announcement. But honestly, the announcement is just a formality. The shift has already started. Once your head coach starts publicly soft-launching the rookie QB in press conferences, it's only a matter of time. And let's be clear, this isn't about hype. This isn't about selling jerseys or chasing headlines. This is about a football team staring down the barrel of another wasted season and saying, we're not doing this again. And thank God, because if they didn't make this move, what exactly are they telling the locker room? That they're okay with mediocrity? That they'll ride with a quarterback who just fumbled away a winnable game rather than try something new? That's not leadership. That's fear. And Stefanski doesn't have the luxury of fear right now. Because let's not forget, his seat is getting warmer by the week. If this team finishes with another underwhelming season, it won't just be Flacco packing up. Stefanski could be next. So if you're going to gamble your future, you bet on upside. You bet on momentum. You bet on the quarterback who wants the spotlight, not the one trying to escape it. And no one wants it more than Shedeur. He hasn't shied away from expectations. He's leaned into them. And he's done it all without forcing the issue. No drama. No locker room tension. Just a consistent message. I'm ready. When it's my time, I'll deliver. Well, it's your time, Shedeur. And here's the reality. This could go either way. Best case scenario? Sanders steps in, shows poise, flashes some playmaking ability, and sparks a second-half surge for the Browns. He doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be better than Flacco, which, let's be honest, is a pretty low bar right now. Worst case? He looks overwhelmed, makes a few costly mistakes. The offense doesn't click, and Stefanski takes heat for rushing the transition. But even then, even in the worst-case scenario, at least they'll know. At least they'll stop playing pretend with a veteran quarterback who clearly doesn't have it anymore. At least they'll start gathering data on whether Sanders is a guy or just another chapter in Cleveland's cursed QB saga. And speaking of that curse, how about the optics? The Browns, once again, in the middle of a quarterback controversy. It's basically tradition at this point. But this one feels different. There's a clarity here. Not because Sanders is a sure thing, but because Flacco is a sure non-thing. There's no more wait and see. No more give him a few more weeks. Stefanski has already made the mental pivot. His tone said it. His face said it. His patience said goodbye. And you can bet the rest of the league is watching. Because if Sanders does come in and look solid, suddenly the Browns go from a franchise in crisis to a franchise with a plan. They shift the narrative. From how are they still doing this, to did they finally get it right? And in Cleveland, that's massive. This is a team that's needed a quarterback identity longer than most fans have been alive. And while Sanders doesn't have a resume yet, he has something that might be even more important. Control. Mental control. Emotional control. Control of the narrative. Every time he's been interviewed, he's sounded like a guy who already believes he's QB1, even if the depth chart hasn't caught up yet. That's rare. That's valuable. That's exactly what Stefanski needs in a locker room that's teetering between apathy and frustration. So, yeah, this is dramatic. It's high stakes. It's the kind of pivot that could define Stefanski's coaching career and either launch or bury Shedeur's. But it's also simple. Joe Flacco had his shot. He blew it. Shedeur Sanders is next up. And for the first time in a long time, Browns fans might actually be able to believe in something without crossing their fingers. Will it work? We don't know. But at least they're finally trying. Every season, without fail, this franchise finds itself in the middle of yet another QB saga. But this time, the drama is sharper, the stakes are higher, and the decision feels different. Because for the first time in what feels like forever, the Browns might actually be moving forward. Joe Flacco was supposed to be the veteran presence, the safety net, the guy who wouldn't win you every game, but also wouldn't single-handedly lose it. Except against Detroit, that's exactly what happened. He didn't just lose composure. He lost a game, and with it, any remaining justification for why he should be starting. The interception was bad enough, but that fumble? That was the moment the fan base collectively let out the most exhausted, heartbroken, here we go again. It wasn't just a turnover, it was a metaphor for the offense, for the season, for the years of false hope. And head coach Kevin Stefanski, he finally stopped pretending. Shedeur is firmly in the mix. That was the quote. That's the one that broke NFL Twitter. That cracked open every sports desk segment. That had fans arguing in parking lots and analysts scrubbing Shedeur's college tape like it was a Zapruder film. Because that statement didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't just post-loss coach talk. It was intentional. It was a line between one chapter of the Browns season and the next. Let's break it down. You don't put a rookie firmly in the mix unless you're getting ready to start him. That's just how this works. Stefanski didn't say Shedeur is coming along. He didn't say we'll see what happens. He said Shedeur is in the mix and that Flacco's performance needs to be evaluated. That's code, not even subtle code. That's we're moving on and we're soft launching the transition to avoid a headline explosion. But guess what? Too late. Because the moment Stefanski opened that door, Shedeur Sanders walked through it. And the NFL's watching every step. Let's talk about Shedeur. Because for weeks, he's been sitting quietly, waiting. Not begging for a start. Not posting cryptic tweets. Just waiting. He's made it clear. He's confident in his ability. He believes in timing and he trusts in God's plan. And while other rookies might be pacing the sideline with nerves, Shedeur has looked calm, steady, ready. And yeah, that quote about being better than a lot of NFL quarterbacks, at the time, it sounded wild, like the kind of thing that would be used against him if he flopped. But now it sounds like a challenge to everyone who doubted him. And after Flacco's implosion, it's hard to argue that he doesn't have a point. Flacco had one job, don't melt down. But that's exactly what happened. And for a team still technically in the mix for a competitive season, Stefanski doesn't have time for another experiment with a fading veteran. He needs someone who can move the ball, inject life into the offense, and maybe, just maybe, turn the ship around before it sinks completely. And Shedeur represents possibility. He represents direction. He represents a plan. Because let's not pretend Dillon Gabriel getting playing time was random. That was Stefanski putting every rookie under a microscope. He wanted to see how they handled pressure. He wanted to see if anyone was ready to step up. And while Gabriel showed promise, the coaching staff's eyes keep circling back to one name, Sanders. Because Sanders isn't just another arm. He's a presence. He's the first quarterback in recent Browns history to walk into the building and act like he belongs at the top of the depth chart, even before he got the reps. And for a team like Cleveland, that matters. Because the problem isn't just the turnovers. It's the energy. This offense looks dead. The tempo is off. The decision-making is slow. And it's bleeding into the defense. The sideline, even the crowd. They need someone to wake them up. Shedeur can do that. Not because he'll walk in and throw for 400 yards, but because he doesn't flinch. He's not shaken by expectations. He doesn't shrink under scrutiny. He wants the pressure. And for a rookie, that's rare. But here's the kicker. The Browns don't even need him to be great. They just need him to be better than Flacco. That's the baseline. Don't turn the ball over. Don't kill drives. Don't make your defense spend 35 minutes on the field while you stall out on third down again and again. Low bar? Maybe. But in Cleveland, clearing it could reset the entire season. That's why this move matters. Stefanski isn't just pulling a veteran because of bad numbers. He's shifting gears because the whole offense is broken, and you don't fix it by waiting for a guy like Flacco to rediscover his 2012 form. That version of him isn't walking through the door. But Shedeur? He's already standing in the hallway, helmet in hand. And while the league debates whether he's ready, let's just remember, every quarterback is a risk until they prove otherwise. There is no guarantee. But with Sanders, you're at least betting on the unknown, on the upside, on someone who believes he belongs here. And Stefanski seems ready to take that bet. Because let's face it, his job might depend on it. Another slow, underperforming finish? He's gone. Another missed postseason? He's gone. Another safe decision that leads nowhere? Gone. So yeah, putting Shedeur in isn't just a quarterback change. It's Stefanski putting everything on the table and saying, let's go. And Browns fans? They're ready too. Because this isn't about stats anymore. It's about belief. And there's nothing left to believe in with Flacco. But Shedeur, even if he struggles, at least the team will be trying to build something. At least they'll have a direction, a rookie to develop, a potential franchise cornerstone to rally behind. That's more than they've had in years. So here we are. Flacco fumbles. Stefanski hints. Shedeur steps in. The story writes itself. But what happens next? That's the part we're all waiting to see. Because once Sanders takes that first snap, the Browns' future is no longer hypothetical. It's right now. And the pressure? Oh, it's going to be immense. Every throw will be analyzed. Every mistake will be magnified. Every decision will be questioned. But he won't be rattled. Because he's already shown something you can't coach: poise under pressure. And if he can bring even a fraction of that into live action, the Browns might finally have their guy. So what do you think? Is this the right move for Cleveland? Should Stefanski go all in on Sanders? Or are the Browns taking a reckless leap into another quarterback mess? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in this ongoing quarterback soap opera. Because one thing's for sure. In Cleveland, chaos isn't a phase. It's a tradition. And this time, Shedeur Sanders is at the center of it all.